Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. So if you're new here, my name is Julianne. I am a nature-loving Canadian living abroad in Germany. And in today's video, I wanted to talk about how my husband and I both live sustainably in Germany currently, and also what our future plans and goals are in terms of sustainability. So without further ado, let's get into the list. And just one thing that I will say before we start is that, as with the things that we are currently doing that help us with sustainability, you will really notice that those are also things that save us a lot of money. So I believe that our monthly spending is significantly less than the average because of the things that we're doing, and it's also more sustainable. So keep that in mind. Alright, so the first thing that we really like to do to be more sustainable is we grow a lot of veggies and fruits and just anything we can on our balcony. So we're really fortunate that we have a balcony, and it's a good sized balcony. It is bigger than an average sized balcony, and we really take advantage of that. So the first spring that we lived here, we did invest a bit of money to buy some soil and some materials to build some raised garden beds, because we have a balcony, not a garden. We can't just plant stuff into the ground. We need to provide some soil for our plants. So we did invest a little bit of money at the start, but that is definitely worth it because we can have fresh vegetables throughout the summer directly from our balcony, and it also just brings us so much joy. So buying locally sourced produce is a really great way to be more sustainable, and what is more local than your own backyard? We also save quite a bit of money by doing this because we can grow so many things, because the cost of seeds compared to buying these vegetables in the grocery store is significantly less. We bought a package of seeds of yellow zucchini, okay? The package of seeds cost only €1.50, and that's probably how much you would pay for 2 yellow zucchinis, and we got a whole package of seeds, which each seed then produces maybe 20 zucchinis or something. So stay tuned for this spring and summer because we are going all out in our garden. We are expanding it. I'm so excited. It's gonna be great. The second thing that we do to live more sustainably is we are driving so much less, and we aren't even considering replacing our lovely old car that we have. So we're in a situation right now where we're living in a smaller city. We can walk to the grocery store. We don't need to drive anywhere, except for when we're driving to go visit my in-laws, or if we're going on vacation, then we'll drive. But really, those are the only times that we are driving. That is saving us a ton of gas money, because right now it's very expensive in Germany to drive. And then for the sake of replacing our car, even if we replaced our car with an electric car, so just imagine this with me, okay? Electric cars are good, okay? Yeah. If everybody replaced their car currently with an electric vehicle, can you even imagine the waste that would accumulate because of that? I really do believe that it's important to use what you have until you can't use it anymore before replacing it with something that is more sustainable. And that also goes for vehicles. So by driving our old car for as long as it can go, we're hoping it will last at least another 5 years. That's going to save us so much money, as well as the resources going into building a new car and all the energy that is required to build a new car. The third thing that we do to live more sustainably is by reducing our consumption of stuff. Just things that aren't necessary or required or don't really bring us joy. I would consider myself to be more on the side of eco-minimalist, but I'm not a minimalist per se in the trendy application of the word. You can see I have a living room, I have books, I have plants, I have artwork, I have hobbies that require things, and I buy those because they bring me joy. But I'm not just buying stuff for the sake of buying stuff. And I know that if I'm buying something that I'm not in love with or I'm not going to use, it's going to end up in the landfill. And I want to try and avoid that as much as possible. The fourth thing is that we buy as much as we can secondhand. All of our furniture is secondhand. Even like my tech is all secondhand. I actually have like a few phones because they're both hand-me-downs from my older sister. Every few years she'll buy a new phone and then I always get a new phone even though it's her old phone. I'm filming on my latest one, and then this is the other one that I have, and I use it as like a iPod MP3 player. A lot of our clothes are secondhand. Everything from pots and pans to books, and even the materials that we use to build some of our raised garden beds. We always try and get as much as we can secondhand. The fifth thing is we eat a more plant-forward / Mediterranean style diet. So we're not totally vegetarian, we're not vegan by any means. We do eat meat, but just not as often. So some of you may know that I am working on my fitness and I'm trying to increase my protein, and by doing so I am eating more like vegetarian based proteins, like high protein Greek yogurt and eggs, but we do still eat meat sometimes. And not only is there science backing that a Mediterranean style diet is also extremely healthy, but there's also science showing that an average American diet compared to a Mediterranean diet also has the biggest decrease in personal carbon footprint. So that's going to be the biggest leap. If you're having an average diet compared to a Mediterranean diet, that's going to be the largest decrease. And then after that, going to a vegetarian diet and then a vegan diet, those have smaller decreases. So we've kind of made the biggest leap, and we're still really enjoying our food. We're still consuming everything we want to consume, just everything in moderation. The sixth thing is that we really don't use much electricity. So the biggest things that we have that use the most electricity are probably our fridge, our oven, and maybe my husband's computer, and maybe our laundry machine. And I think those are like the biggest contributors to our energy consumption. So fridge, that's just constantly going. We do try and decrease it by not leaving the door open. We also don't use our oven that much. We use more the stovetop than the oven. Other than that, things like lighting, outlets for charging our technology and stuff, we don't use so much of that. And if you're from Germany, you will also know that electricity is very expensive. So it's a good thing not to use so much. And that's something we don't directly see in this flat because our electricity is included in our overall rent price that we pay monthly. But in our last flat, it wasn't included, so we actually saw how much electricity we were using, and we ended up getting refunded quite a bit of money because they initially charged us the average for 2 people living in a household, and we were way under that. The seventh thing is composting and recycling. I'm very fortunate to live in Germany where we have such a good composting and recycling system. Like, Germany has been composting and recycling for a long time, and comparing that to some places in Canada, like a lot of places in Canada only just started composting a few years ago. And I know some people that their cities don't even have a composting program or pickup. And because of the recycling and composting programs in Germany, our actual garbage is very small. We have a really small rubbish bin and it takes at least a month to fill it. And finally, the eighth thing that we are doing currently is we have started to invest in clean energy. So just in this last year, my husband kind of got into investments and stuff to try and build up our finances. And I told him, I want to invest in something that I actually believe in and that I want to succeed. I don't want to invest in businesses that are involved in fossil fuels or something. So we invested in clean energy. So those are the things that we are currently doing. And as you may have seen, those also save us money. Now moving into the things that we want to do and our big like goals and dreams for the next years. Now it's time for that. So the first goal that we have is we want to create a permaculture type property and produce most of our own food. So permaculture is really great because it really increases biodiversity. It helps with like the health of the soil, just all that good stuff. And then as well, we're producing our own food and we'll probably have produce to spare that we can share with our community too. The second goal that we have is we want to wait to see how the transformation of the transportation sector evolves and maybe buy an electric car. So this is totally dependent on what is available in the next 5-10 years, and it's really exciting to think about. Like, I wonder if other people get really excited about the possibilities of the future because, you know, even compared to 5 years ago, electric cars have gotten so much more efficient and so much better. Just think of what's going to happen in another 5 years. It's really exciting to think about. So because me and my husband do want to live more rural, we don't really want to live in a city because we want to have a bigger property. We're probably going to need one car for our family down the road. And for that, we probably want to get an electric car because then we can power that car ourselves. Versus if we would get a hydrogen powered car, there's no way that we can make our own hydrogen to power that car. And then other than our one family vehicle, we'll probably be more involved in car sharing, things like that. The third goal that is kind of related to the last one is that we want to produce our own electricity, either through a solar panel or who knows what technology will be available. It'll probably be a solar panel or two. And our goal with this is to power our home and our vehicle. So that's why if we get an electric vehicle, then we can power it through a solar panel on our roof. And I encourage you guys to do some more research on solar panels if you're interested in that, because lots of times when you're driving, you see these houses and their roofs are just covered in solar panels, and it costs what, 20,000 euros to get that done or something. So you're not really saving any money for so long. And what my husband said is that when you're doing that, it's connected to the grid, and I am not that knowledgeable in this. I'm just kind of stirring the pot, I guess. But then my in-laws, they went to some town meeting and there was somebody there talking about another type of solar panel that isn't as widely known about, but it's basically like a single solar panel that costs maybe 200 to 300 euros. You can put it on your roof and it's enough to charge like probably half of your electricity usage. And I think the difference was that this one isn't involved in the general power grid. It's just connected to your home. So that's probably the way that we would go so that we can be a bit more self-sufficient. But I definitely recommend that you look more into that because I'm not sure. So the fourth goal that we have is we want to produce and also use our own compost. So right now we don't have really the ability to have a composting system on our balcony, and we are taking advantage of our city's composting system. But in the future, I think it would be really nice to actually use our own compost and then put it back into our garden. So our garden will be giving us fruits and vegetables, and we will be giving it nutrients in return. And I think that's a nice cycle that's going to improve the soil health, but also not being completely dependent on a composting system provided by your town or city. The fifth goal that we have is to renovate an old home instead of building or buying a new one. So some inspiration that I have gotten for this is from XO McKenna. She's an American YouTuber, and for the last year she's been renovating this like 111-year-old home or something, and through that she has been reusing all the materials that she can from the home, all the old windows, the doors, even just like the wood, all the flooring. She's reusing so much of it, and that's really inspired me to do something similar. And here's the way I look at it. I think of buying a secondhand home just like a bigger version of buying a secondhand chair, you know? It's still secondhand. You're stopping it from getting demolished or just like sitting there and collecting dust. You're actually getting use out of it and the materials used for it, all of the energy that was used to build this home. You're just reusing that. That's kind of how I see it. And in doing so, I want to reuse as much of the materials that I can, as well as when I'm bringing new materials in, I want those to be secondhand. So I really like thrifting. I really like a more kind of like vintage style. So I'm really excited to buy an old home, fix it up, and then like furnish it and just get like stuff from old reclamation yards and things like that. The sixth goal that I have is kind of maybe crazy. I want to restore a piece of land. Legally, I don't know how this works in Germany. I don't know if you can buy a piece of farmland that's designated for farming and not use it for farming. I don't know if it has to be used for food production or not. So for this one, we will have to wait and see. Maybe if we just have like a bigger property, I will kind of restore part of it. And by restoring it, I mean I want to plant some native plants, maybe make almost a bit of a food forest, but just let it be like natural again. I just think that would be a really fun project. The seventh goal that I have to be more sustainable is to buy higher quality, lower waste, and more local and organic products. This is something that we can't really afford right now because we're both students. We can't buy everything organic because it does cost more. But in the future, when we do have a bit more money, then I think we do want to prioritize that. And also, I just want to say that I don't think buying organic is necessarily for health reasons. I think in the future I would prefer to buy organic things because of the environmental reasons behind organic. You know, not using pesticides that leak into groundwater, and lots of the times organic food also has better like humanitarian practices. For those reasons, I want to buy organic. And the final goal that I have for the future is to get involved in a community. I don't know what this looks like yet. Maybe this is going to be me sharing my journey on YouTube. Maybe I'll be able to find a community of like-minded individuals and we can work on things together. Or maybe it'll just be us having a big garden and inviting people over to come and look at it to see how sustainably living looks like. I think for a lot of reasons, community is really great, really important, and I just want to get involved in it. Alright, so that's everything I have for you guys today. If you want some resources, I'll leave some links in the description. For some inspiration on permaculture, I would recommend looking up Happens Films. They're a YouTube channel / filmmakers. They have like some really amazingly well done documentaries about permaculture and just about sustainable living. I would also recommend checking out Project Drawdown. They have a list of 101 of the best ways that we can fight climate change, both systematically and individually, so that's another resource you can look at. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Also subscribe to my channel for more content, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!